This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Shalom Aleichem. Welcome to Sefer Devorah. We are continuing in Parak Hey, the sixth way to effectuate Chesed in Shamayim. The seventh way, thank you. The seventh way to effectuate Chesed in Shamayim, and that is Hachnasas Kala l'Chupah, bringing the Kala into the Chupah. We know one of the great forms of Gmilas Chasadim is assisting a Kala to get married. Bring her into the Chupah, Hachnasas Kala. So what is the allegory of Hachnasas Kala? So certainly when one actually does Chesed and one assists a Kala l'Chupah, one is symbolically accomplishing this feat in the Spherois. So what does this refer to? In what way does this manifest in the Spherois? So the Torah Devorah says as follows. Incorporated in this are all the necessities of unification. Meaning all aspects of Yichud are accomplished through Hachnasas Kala l'Chupah. And this is what we're going to explain at length. What exactly is Yichud? What is Yichud in reference to the various spheros? Because as we're going to see, the Rebbeinu Shalom is mashpia, great bounty, from Mimikoimai, and it has to traverse and travel through all the various levels of the spheros, from the various worlds that we're going to learn about today: Atzilus, Bria, Yetzira, Asiya. We'll see what this refers to. And when all the olamais are connected one to another, and thereby they allow Hashem Shefa to flow down, this is called Yichud. And this is accomplished primarily through prayer, through Tefillah. Tefillah primarily accomplishes this, the Yichud of the various olamais. Shekala Tefillah v'yichudim, all the prayers and the unifications, Him Soid, is the essence of Hachnasas Kala l'Chupah. In other words, the essence of unifying the Kala and the Chasan is, the function of that is, it's Miyached Olamais. The Ikara, and it's, in principle, Besoid HaTfilah, in the essence of Tfilah, Mikama Madrega Zu Achar Zu, in many levels, one after another. You have Karbanos. The main first part of Tfilah is Karbanos. You have Zmiros, which is Psukei de Zimra. You have Tefillah Miyushav, which is the Birchas Kriyas Shema, Shabbat Kriyas Shema Birchasah. Achar Kach Tefillah Me'umad. So the four principal parts of davening is Karbanos, Psukei de Zimra, Birchas Kriyas Shema, Shemaina Esrei. Now, as we're going to learn, they represent the four olamais. Karbanos represents this world, the Olam Ho'asiyah. Above this world is the world of the Malachim, which is the Olam HaYetzira. Above that is where the Kisei HaKavod is, the Olam HaBriya. And above that is the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is the Olam HaAtzilos. So Karbanos is Olam HaAsiyah. Psukei de Zimra is Olam HaYetzira, the Malachim, who they sing Shiur to Hashem. The Birchas Kriyas Shema is the Olam HaBriya. And Shemona Esrei is Olam HaAtzilos. That is a very basic spiritual idea that one should be aware of. That during each part of davening, one is entering another realm. Again, Karbanos, the Olam HaAsiyah, Psukei de Zimra, the Olam HaYetzira, Birchas Kriyas Shema, the Olam HaBriya, and Shemona Esrei is the Olam HaAtzilos. Now, just as an aside, and hopefully we'll get to this today, you also have to come back down to earth. So the way you land is Ashrei Uval Tzion, is you bring down from the Atzilos to Bria. Then the Shir Shal Yaim you bring down to Yetzira, and then Aleinu you bring it down to this world with Olam HaAsiyah. So you'll say, well, that's Nusach Sfard. Well, that's one of the reasons why the Arizal made his changes. One of them is so that Aleinu should be at the very end of davening, which is the finally bringing down the Shefa to this world. But I assure you that even those who daven Nusach Ashkenaz which was the original Nosach of the Balei HaTosfos, whatever needs to be accomplished will still be accomplished. I'm quite sure. Now it's interesting. Therefore, if people leave the davening early, so you know what it's like saying? It's like saying, God, it's like going to a wealthy man. Give me a lot of money. I need money. Give me money. And then he says, wait a second. Let me just open up my safe. And then you book. So by the time he comes back with the money, you're not even there anymore. So leaving davening early is, you're saying, Rebbe Hashem, give me the goods. And the Rebbe says, no problem, let me give it to you. And by the time it's offered, you're not there in the shul anymore. So in a way, to leave before Aleinu, you're sort of, you're leaving all the shefa in the shul, but you're not coming home with it. So it's very important to be in the davening for the entire duration. So the way we bring it down again is, the three parts are Asher Yevol Tzion, the Yom, and Aleinu. Achar kach tefillah ma'umah, u'shar tikkunim haba machrim, then the Shmones and all the other tikkunim that happen after. Hakol gemilos chesed, this is all an act of kindness. El hachasan v'hakala, you're unifying the chasan and the kala. In other words, the unity of the various olamos for the shefa to pass through from one to the other is analogous to hachnasas kala, lefakech al tzarcheim, to oversee their needs, v'sikune zivugam, and their correction of their zivug, of their unity and their coming together. So I just want to share with you a few important ideas. The analogy of hachnasas kala l'chupah. A person's house is a makom of hashras hashchina. Like we know, ish ve'isha, if there's zoicha, the shchina is among them. We find that when Sarah was alive, the candle burned from Erev Shabbos to Erev Shabbos, and the dough was fresh, and there was a cloud on top of her tent. And then when Sarah died, it ceased, and when Rivka came, it returned. The fire that burned from Erev Shabbos to Erev Shabbos represents the menorah. The fresh dough is the lechem apanim, and the anan, the cloud on her tent, was the shechina. The Mishkan and the hashras hashchina on the Mishkan is analogous to a kala. That's why it says when the Mishkan was finished, Vayhi b'yom kalois Moshe l'hakim es ha-Mishkan. The Medrash says the yom hakamas ha-Mishkan was analogous to a kala that enters the chuppah. Now when we talk about yichud, the kavanah is when the various olamos are miskasher one to the other, and then the shefa can flow freely from one to the other. And that's analogous to a chasan and a kala, where the ish sort of contributes to the woman, and then the woman is able to contribute a child. So the analogy of the combination and the union of the various olamos is analogous to a chasan and a kala. But primarily this yichud is achieved through tefillah. That is why the Gra writes that tefillah is called a kala, because it sort of encapsulates everything. All the various tikkunim are kala in tefillah, are incorporated in tefillah. And the Nefesh HaChaim teaches us that because of our many sins, we no longer have the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. Our only avodah is tefillah, and tefillah is able to be mekasher and meyache the various olamos. The Pri Etz Chaim says the ikar kavana of tefillah. In other words, what am I doing in tefillah? I am tying the various olamos together so that our lowly world can receive shefa from the Almighty, and His shefa trickles down through all of the various olamos. Now, in tefillah, we stand like an eved before a melech. The eved has no entity and no existence on his own. Everything the eved accepts is from above. And therefore, tefillah is primarily the tikkun of malchus. Because malchus, the sphere of malchus, is called les migarmei klum. The Zohar teaches us that why do we say Hashem is shoymea tefillah? We should say shoymea tefillos. But tefillah is a reference to Klal Yisrael, like it says va'ani tefillah. The sphera of malchus is called tefillah because during tefillah we stand and we say to Hashem the principle of malchus, which is we have nothing on our own. Les migarmei klum. Therefore, Shemona Esrei begins with the word Aleph Dal Nun Yud, which is the name of the Sefira of Malchus. Now let's learn a very important thing from the Derech Hashem, which is one of the main principles of davening, and that is there are 4 olamos. This world, which consists of the lowly world and the upper world, the Aretz and the Shamayim, is called the Olam HaAsiyah. Above Olam Hazeh is the world of the Malachim, the world of Yitzira. Above that is the Kisei HaKavod, the world of Bria, and above that is the Ribbon Shalom, the Metzios of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Olam Eloikus, which is Olam HaAtzilos. And these 4 worlds correspond to the 4 parts of davening. And that is Karbonos, Psukei de Zimra, Berchos Kriya Shema, Shemona Esrei. Karbonos again is Olam HaAsiyah, Zmiros Olam HaYitzira, Berchos Kriya Shema Bria, and the Shemona Esrei is Olam HaAtzilos. This is alluded to in the word Abiyah, Aleph, Atzilos, Beis, Bria, Yud, Yitzira, Ayin, Asiyah. Now you have to trickle it back down. And therefore, how do you go down? First step down is Ashrei Yovalat Tzion, takes it down to Bria. The Yeshir of the Levium, the Olam HaMalachim, and Oleinu is finally the Olam HaAsiyah. And again, in Nusach Ashkenaz, first comes Oleinu, and then the Shir Shel Yom, and in that Nusach, we will accomplish what we need to accomplish. Now, the Nefesh HaChaim says further that the 3 parts of davening, which are really 4, correspond to Naran, the Nefesh, the Ruach, the Neshama, and the Shoresh HaNeshama. Karbonos correspond to the Nefesh, the Olam HaAsiyah, because they come for a person's Chatoim, like it says, the Nefesh Kisechta. Psukei de Zimra is Olam HaRuach, which is the world of the Malachim. Kriya Shema Berchasa is the Heichal of Bria. And finally, Shemona Esrei is the Olam HaAtzilos. Now, after Shemona Esrei, there's another tikkun, and that is Tachnun. And what Tachnun does is, we've mentioned a few times, the function of Tachnun is to be moiser, to be willing to declare your willingness to give up your life al Kiddush Hashem. So therefore, what we do in Tachnun is we say, Sfardim say it most clearly, LeDavid Hashem Nafshi Esa, and Ashkenazim say, B'sha'ol mi yoidelach. Basically, we say we're willing to give up our life for Hashem. By doing that, we combine Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, and thereby we're Mekasher all the various Olamos. So, all of the aspects of Tefillah are to accomplish Yichud of the various Olamos. It is all, as the Talmud Devorah says, Hakol Gmulas Chesed, to the Chassan and Kala, to oversee their needs and the perfections of their union. So, the summary, the 7th way to effectuate Chesed in heaven is accomplished by doing Chesed to a Chassan and Kala, and primarily through our Avodas HaTfilah, we are able to connect the various worlds, as each part of davening corresponds to another world. We thereby are Mekasher the Olamai, so that the Shefa of Kutchabrichu could trickle down to all aspects of creation. And Be'ezras Hashem, tomorrow we will learn the 8th way to effectuate Chesed and Shamayim. As we've mentioned during the days of Elul, it is recommended specifically to learn Musar, and most specifically to learn the Tomer Devorah, as during this time of the year the 13 attributes of mercy are very prevalent, and that is one of the reasons why we say L'David Hashem Oyer V'Yishi, which has a mention of the Yud Kei Vav Kei 13 times. So on that note, I wish everyone a great day, and I hope already in Tfilas, yes, in Mincha, we'll have in mind to be Mekasher the Chassan and the Kala, and be Mekasher the Ilamos, and by doing so, we are effectuating Chesed in Shamayim. Yes?
We always learn that the Iker Tefillah is Shemona Esrei.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.